Something that I'm super aware of every time I step into the gym is that I'm the only person that's recording their sets. I walk in, carry my little tripod, I set it up right in front of the cage or in front of the squat rack, and this is how I measure my progress. I work on every set, I work on improving on the last set. So like I'll look at the video footage, I'll see where I could have done better. Like I normally I can feel that I didn't do something well, and then I'll look at it on the camera and see exactly what it was. I make sure that my alignment, my posture, all that stuff is as good as I can make it. It's never going to be perfect. But I can tell, like, for example, when I'm warming up for the bench press right here, I can tell my bar is uneven, like, just looking at it from this angle. One thing I've also been able to see whenever I'm squatting next to a side mirror is that the bar is not always in a straight line across my shoulders. Sometimes my torso is turned, and that affects the mechanics of the squat. So those are just examples of ways that if you have having a camera or like recording yourself is like a second pair of eyes. You're able to be, because you know yourself better than other people. You can criticize yourself. You can look at what needs to be done better. Not everyone is going to be like so acutely focused on detail when it comes to someone else's workout. You know, you can have a spotter. You can have someone watching you. They're not always going to notice the smallest things. They're going to notice like obvious things. But one thing that's been an issue for me when I'm pressing, I think it just has to do with my with shoulder strength, like a disparity between my strong and weak shoulder. I don't know if that's like the only thing, but it's one of the things. And so I'll push harder on one side or whatever, and like the bar, like one side of the bar will move quicker than the other. And in order to keep up the one that's lacking, I kind of have to do some kind of, I kind of have to cheat it a little bit. I think when I watch myself pushing, it's like I'm using the leverage and all that stuff to get the bar up instead of just pure muscular strength, you know? So, like, for example, you saw my right side push harder than my left side right there, and then I had to straighten out the bar after it wobbled a little bit. Those are all things I'm mindful of as I'm watching. One thing I wish people would do more is be comfortable recording in the gym. Obviously, it takes up a little bit, like, everyone having a tripod would take up a little bit extra space, and maybe a lot of extra space. But what I see a lot is guys that will go and they'll be benching or squatting or doing whatever, and they're putting up good numbers, but I can tell their form is off. But they have no way of knowing unless they're standing in front of a mirror. But not everyone is looking at that when they're lifting. You know, a lot of them only care about, you know, let's say like you're squatting, the depth, right? Depth is important. But if you're getting to your depth by compromising certain parts of the alignment of your squat, so like you dip into one side of your hip, for example, or you twist your body or whatever, you do some contortion just in the name of getting to the bottom of the squat, you're only getting a partial benefit. And so the best form of any movement is to keep everything in line. Like right there, you see how, well, also my camera's tilted, I can tell, but you can see how the bar wasn't straight, and I knew it immediately. I went and watched the footage. It's just like, it's a process, and sometimes these things they cannot even be fixed just by trying to correct the alignment. It's like sometimes it really just boils down to a muscular deficiency, and so you got to attack that part of your body in isolation and get that stronger. So it's just a whole process. That's why it's so beautiful. Like once I discovered powerlifting and squatting and all that stuff, like compound lifts in general, that's when I really found a love for fitness, because it's a puzzle you have to solve. It's like you have to figure out what pieces are intact and in place and don't need to be changed, and which ones need to be moved around, which ones need to be replaced, which ones need to be modified. Everyone's got their own puzzle. Everyone's body is slightly different. We all perform the same functions, but like let's say like for example someone's torso is longer than mine or shorter, or let's say they have longer leg like femurs or whatever, like all that stuff impacts how you do the lift. So everyone's got to figure it out for themselves, what feels the best, what's the most natural. Also doing things that are slightly unnatural will also provide results. So like if your natural stance is shoulder width or just inside shoulder width, and you go narrower, you're going to really target your quad muscles, and you're going to target your hips a lot more on the inside. And then if you spread your stance a little bit, you're going to be working the outside part of your hips and your glutes. It's like you can switch it up and do a lot of different things. So the idea is that there will never be a day in the gym where you don't have something you can improve on, because your body is so intricate. It's very complex and lots of small, minute details. But there's also big things. So like you can work on things big and small every single day in the gym. The one thing that's been holding me back, because I've only been like, let's say I've been 60% consistent over the last year and a half going to the gym. And The only difference has been when I'm eating well is when I can make it to the gym and not have many problems. And when I'm not eating well is when I miss gym sessions because I just know that my body won't be able to perform well. It could also just be an excuse I'm making sometimes, which has been the case. But essentially, having a discipline and focus in your eating will always make it so you can have a easier time lifting in the gym. Like, I've thought about this, if I didn't have to eat, like for example, if my body could simply just maintain itself as it is, I would be in the gym every single day. But it's because of the eating and the sleeping that sometimes I miss on the gym, and I understand everything has to be done in proportion. So let's say I don't eat well for a week, or then 2 weeks, all of a sudden I'm in a deficit, and like my body just won't be able to handle that as effectively as if I had been feeding it well. So because I'm not eating well, I kind of suffer in the gym, and because I suffer in the gym, my quality of life is decreased because my body starts to deteriorate and go into a lower state of existence where I'm starting to lose muscle mass, starting to lose things that are important to me, things I've built to or worked to build. And so these are all thoughts that go in my head as far as my gym experience so far, and I want you guys to be more. If anyone listening got to the end of this video, I want you to be more cognizant and aware of all the smaller details that are involved in your lifting, and be very methodical about how you approach things. When I talk to people about the gym or just about things, how I think about life, everyone's always like, "Oh, wow, that's actually really smart," you know? And I'm not a smart person, but I understand that everything that is like worth attaining requires a lot of planning and a lot of like all the successes they compound. So every little success, like performing your top set, like let's say you're doing 1 rep on a squat as your top set, performing that with the best form possible is a victory in and of itself. But then to get to that victory, you have to have hit several sets leading up to that with good form as well, preparing yourself for that ultimate last set. So it's like you got to be mindful of everything and calculate, be precise, and then every once in a while just give it your best effort. And if it doesn't work out, you got to be okay with that. But then for the most part, if you can control something, you should always look to control and put things in their proper place. But anyways, that's all I had to say today. Thank you guys. Thank you for anyone who watched to the end. I hope you have a great day and get into the gym. Make sure that you do something for yourself today.